So what's up, everyone? It is your girl Gel Beauty 87 here, aka Grace, and it's time for another palette what is it? Palette comparisons? What is it? I'm sorry. It's time for when I recreate the palettes and to show who did it best. That's what I meant to say. So I got 5 palettes in today's episode that I'm gonna show y'all that I created, and then you can tell me which one you feel like is best. So I was inspired by other palettes that's already in my collection, of course, or color stories I came up with, and then other brands came up with them later on, because sometimes that does happen to me, believe it or not. So I figured I'd just go ahead and show you all some palettes today, and you can tell me if you like my version or you like the original version better. Either way, it's fine, but you know, I just love to do these videos because I do recreate palettes from time to time, and I do use them in my collection. And sometimes when I post a picture on Instagram, people want to know what the palette is, and then, you know, I have to go into how I made and all this other stuff. So I thought it'd be fun to show you all what I make. I am going to do a video like someone asked of me actually recreating a palette on camera with you all. I'm actually waiting for the palette to show up. I just ordered it today. So once it does get here, then I'll recreate one on camera with you all, because I'm not crazy about the color story of the one that I'm getting. Of course, it's a ColourPop one. Majority of the time I do them with ColourPop. I do them with Male Cosmetics, and I do them with Natasha Denona. I think you can do them with a couple other brands though. So I might do that in the future, but for right now, those are the brands I typically choose to do it with. So let's get into it. So I got the Natasha Denona Mini Crush palette, and so I recreated my cranberry palette from Natasha Denona to look like it. So I honestly just took the fun shades out of the coral palette. So I think it's like just the purple shade, honestly. It's the only one I took out to make it more of my color stack. Now both of these, if I remember correctly, have a shade crushed in it. Like this pink shade right here is cracking, so I can't hold it up too high, and then the purple shade in this one is cracking, so it's not too high. I thought they both looked really nice and somewhat similar though. Besides the purple being in here and like that bronzy shade, I feel like it could be a dupe for this one otherwise. And I like the fact that this is bright red matte, because I feel like in this one I don't really get that. So I feel like you can do a nice cranberry-ish warm color, but at the same time you can still do something that's fun in purple and berry tone. So I feel like both of them are supposed to be giving a berry tone vibe, and this just gave you a little bit of a bronze to go with it. So if you want to do like a simpler smoky eye, you could take the bronze shade, put it all over the lid, and just have like the burgundy or the dark plum on the outer V. If you're a lighter skin tone, obviously I can only put the burgundy on the outer V, not necessarily the red, because I feel like that'd be a little too bright, but it could be fun with the bronzy shade. So I thought that both of these were similar enough, or in this one just had a fun pop of purple in it, so I would show them side by side. You can tell me which one you like better, but I didn't do too much with this. But then again, it's only a 5-pan palette, so there's only so much I can do, you know what I'm saying? So that's palette number 1. Ooh, I'm trying to make sure they don't fall, which is what I was doing, sorry. Now let's get into palette number 2. So I'm gonna just get both the purple palettes out the way. I have the Violet Utandu palette from Viseart here. This is what she looks like on the inside. I think they have a nice amount of mauves in it, a couple of purples, this like shifting type shade right here, and a lot of like neutral mauve shade. So I compared it to my Melt Sheets and Parties palette. I recreated it and pressed a fun little shade in it. So I added this shade right here. Is the shimmer from a palette that it's from a shimmer from Give Me Glow that I had from a while ago, and I think they look pretty similar now, because I tried to mimic this shade right here in this palette right here. Because what I didn't like about this palette is I feel like there were too dark shimmers in it and not enough light ones. So I added that one to be a fun bright shimmer for the lid, as opposed to having to use skeleton tea on the lid as well as the inner corner. So I like the way it ended up turning out, but you can comment down below and tell me which one you think. I actually prefer the Viseart one, just because I got some light mattes as transitions in that fun purple shade. But you know, either one of them I feel like looks really nice and could work out really nice for me, depending on what vibe and what mood I'm in. Of course, the battery wants to die now that I'm sitting here trying to film another video. This is the last video of the night I planned on filming. I got some other stuff I want to film, but I'm like, I'm gonna film it tomorrow because it's just gonna take too long, and it's like 6 in the morning, and I did go to work tonight. So I'm sorry, it's 5 in the morning, I did go to work tonight. So I'm gonna go get the battery. We're gonna do these last 2 palettes. So sorry, it was 4 palettes, not 5. But anyway, we're gonna go do these last 2 palettes, and then I'm gonna call it a night, because honey, I'm tired. Lord. Oh, by the way, if you're curious what's on my eyes, this is the Juvia's Place Culture 2 palette. Y'all know I was gonna get it because I loved Culture 1 so much. That came out February of like last year. I was here for it. It was a whole vibe, so I'm here for this one as well. Loving it. If you're loving the eye look, make sure you check out that video, because you should definitely see that video before you see this one. Okay, girl? Now back to these palettes. So I have a couple of palettes to compare to this palette. Y'all know I've created my own well, duh, that's what this whole video is about. I was about to say, y'all know I create my own palette, but I filmed a video with this palette and I had to explain that, so my hate is still in that video, my bad. But so this is my own list palette. I feel like I copied off a mixture of these two palettes. I feel like it's more of the Silent Night than it is the Zendo palette from Natasha, the Silent Night from Glaminatrix. But I'm gonna start off with the Silent Night from Glaminatrix because that's the one I feel like really looks similar. I was actually doing another video comparing, talking about this palette and this other palette, and that's what made me realize they were the same. So as you can see, they actually are pretty similar, because I feel like if you covered up like the bottom row right here, it's giving the vibe of those 4 little quads right there. And if I cover up this bottom row here, it's giving the same vibe of this palette right here. So I feel like I just made a bigger version of this palette, and I just didn't have any blue to put. Well, I didn't have the same color of blue to put it, because you can see there's green here, there's blue in here, and then there's the reds and the oranges, and this has red and orange. It just has pink and bright green as well. So I put a little twist on it, but it's still like half warm tone, half cool tone, just like this palette. So I felt like I should show both of them side by side. You can tell me which one you like best. I like both of them for different reasons. Like when I want a more cooler tone look, I feel like I would like this one a little bit better, because I love the fact that it has this super dark blue and the super dark green in it. But at the same time, I like my own palette because it gives like a soft, grungy version of a cool tone look, and then you still have fun, bright pops of color for the warm tone. So these are both the palettes. You can comment down below and tell me which one you like best. This is actually the first Glaminatrix palette I owned. I own like 4 or 5 of them now. I have Into the Night, I have Nocturnal, I have Beauty, I have this one, and I feel like it's one other one. Oh, the Glamorous palette, I was about to say, because I feel like I have one other one, but it's Glamorous palette. So I have like 4 or 5 palettes from this brand that I really enjoy. I love everything they come out with. Beauty is the first palette I looked at that I saw from them that I liked, but because they were in Australia and I didn't know how the quality was going to be, I was like, I didn't want to buy it because the price was so high. But after my girl, Dr. Ash, and her makeup said that their palettes were fine, I was like, say less. Ashley, girl, say less. I will buy. Shh, I will buy it all. Just, it's fine. But next, I wanted to compare it to my Zendo palette. If you all remember, I didn't like the metallics in Zendo, or the shimmers in Zendo, I should say, just because I didn't feel like the quality was that great. But here's what both of them look like side by side. And it wasn't necessarily the quality was bad. It was just more of when you're used to them being the wet, full looking metallics that she normally does, and then you got this that was more subtle. It was kind of disappointing. But I feel like the cool tone side especially looks like this side. Obviously the warm tone side is more fun, and that pop of green is what's giving this palette an extra oomph and look to it. But see, when you cover it up, I feel like those look pretty similar, if you will. It's just the warm tone side of mine, I feel like it's more fun than the warm tone side of this. But the cool tone sides to me are the same. But again, comment down below and tell me what you think. Do you think my cool tone side or my palette is more fun? Because I feel like my palette is more fun than the Zendo palette, but I like the Glaminatrix and the and my palette equally. So you can comment down below and tell me what you think. Now we at the grand finale. So of course y'all know I was going to have one more ColourPop palette in here. Now I feel like, I don't know if they feeling some type of way about Kathleen Knight's not dealing with them anymore or whatever, because of the whole Jordan situation. I don't know what happened with all that. I just know people were telling me that that's why she stopped talking about ColourPop and doing anything with ColourPop, because her friend Jordan left ColourPop, and so she didn't want to be involved anymore. Because I know she used to do a video on the best things from ColourPop every year and all this other stuff, and she's done like 15 million collabs with ColourPop, and then all of a sudden it was like crickets over there. You didn't hear nothing about ColourPop from her. So I don't know what's going on with that. If you know, you can comment down below and tell us if you feel like it, girl. I don't know, but I feel like they tried to copy off her Dream Street palette with this Your Golden palette. Y'all can comment down below and tell me if you agree or not. But I put a twist on my Your Golden palette just because I wanted some more fun and spark and oomph to it. And I already had the miniature version of Kathleen Knight's palette in by having the Dream Street palette. So I was like, I didn't need the Your Golden to be traditional like her palette, because as you can see, it has a lot of those similar tones in it. Like these tones I didn't add to it. I added like the fun pops of green, and I think I added this shade right here. But like, don't you just feel like this is like a giant version of Kathleen's palette, and I just added fun colors to it? Because to me, that's all this is. Like, I added fun colors to a giant version of Kathleen Knight's palette they tried to do after, you know, like, I guess they got out of contract with her and they could do whatever they wanted with the color story. Because I feel like so many of these colors look similar to these. They're not exact, but they're like similar enough to, it's like, I know you were making a giant version of Kathleen Knight's palette. It's like, I just know. I know that's what this was. Don't act like we don't know that's what this was. But I made a giant, I just added to the giant version that they had already made and put some fun pops of color in it. So it had to be a traditional neutral palette with a pop of blue. I wanted pops of other color besides blue, because I already had the pop of blue one right here from Kathleen. So As you can see, this is another one of my favorite recreation palettes. I like this one. I like my It's a Mood. I love my It's a Mood. That's like easily my favorite one. And I'm trying to do the Aurora Struck. What is it? The Aurora Struck palette right now. I'm trying to find some more shades to put in it that I would like better. But you can comment down below and tell me which one of these you like better. I actually want to say I like mine better just because it gives you more like fun pops of color. But with Kathleen's being as small as it was, I feel like it was fine for what it was at the time. It's just I like mine better now because it gives me it gives me more pops of color. If anything, I would just take the fun shimmers out of here. This blue, this one, and this bright red out of her palette. And the rest of it is like pretty just neutral and standard. But comment down below and tell me which ones you liked out of this collection round of palettes, palette recreations. Who did it better, me or Indie Brands? Because I'm pretty sure that's the name of this series. And this is only, I think, my 3rd episode. I'm going to try to do more once I make more palettes. It's just hard because, you know, like, my palettes don't always correspond or align with other palettes. I try not to, you know, do that just because it's like I'm trying to have a unique color story, if you will. It's kind of hard because everybody's done everything. So there's that. But I hope you all enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful. I hope you enjoyed seeing my creative designs of palettes. Remember, you all are diamonds. You can comment down below, like I keep saying, and tell me which one you like best. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Be blessed, girl. Bye.